Good morning. Is everybody ready? Okay. Good morning. My name is Bob Listonby. I'm the First Assistant District Attorney here on behalf of the District Attorney's Office. We're here today to announce multiple first-degree murder convictions of 3 defendants who were involved in a quadruple shooting resulting in the death of those 3 victims and injury to another person. You will hear the details later from ADA Sidney Pope, who prosecuted the case, but I'd like to give you a view of what actually happened on that night, August the 11th, 2023, at around 6 p.m. As most of you know, here in the city and county of Philadelphia on a hot summer night, it's difficult to find a place where you can take your family and friends, your young kids, and your teenagers out to enjoy themselves. This incident occurred at a recreational playground area on 8th and Diamond. There you would find a lot of young kids, under the age of 10, a lot of teenagers out there playing basketball, family members coming out to enjoy the situation and to also just get a little breeze on a hot summer night. What happened next is dramatic and horrible. Ms. Pope is going to go into all the details and she'll tell you about how she prosecuted this case. But I'd like there to be a clear message coming out of this press conference to go out across the city. If you are involved in shootings at recreational centers or anywhere else, especially where there are multiple victims, we will do everything we can to investigate the cases, and we will prosecute these cases to the fullest extent of the law. We do not want these kinds of things to occur, and this case is a clear example of exactly what we plan to do in these kinds of cases. We have present with us today 3 family members, Ms. Tori Singleton, who is the mother of the homicide victim, Nyreese Moore. His name is spelled N-Y-R-E-E-S-E. We have also Mr. Taurus Foster, the father of the homicide victim, Nyreese Moore. T-A-R-I-S is his spelling of his first name. We also have the cousin of the homicide victim, Mr. Nyreese Moore, Mr. Cody Carter. Also present with us here today from the District Attorney's Office is Mr. Bob Wainwright, who is the supervisor of the homicide unit, ADA Sidney Pope, who prosecuted this case, Ms. Tania Leonard, director of our CARES program, Ms. Marielle Dela Cruz, director of our Victim Services Division. We also have Ms. Nicole Hall, who may or may not be present here at the podium, but was actively involved as a victim witness coordinator in this case. At this point, I'm going to invite Ms. Pope to the podium. We'll hear from her about the details. After we hear from Ms. Pope, I'll step back up and invite the family to the podium, and we'll go on from there. Ms. Pope.
Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to announce the conviction of Tyon Bates, Quaza Lopez, and Eric Reed, each of whom were convicted of 3 counts of murder in the first degree, conspiracy to commit murder, as well as firearms charges and 4 counts of recklessly endangering another person. And those 4 counts of recklessly endangering another person were not for the 4 shooting victims in this case. They were for 4 unidentified children that appeared to be under the age of 6 that you could see fleeing from the gunfire. This is a case that probably 10 years ago we would never have been able to make an arrest, let alone multiple. In this case, due to the extraordinary investigation done by the assigned detective David McAndrews from Homicide, with the help of Detective Torsten Lucky and Robert Daly, as well as the outstanding work by the 26th District 5 Squad, including Corporal Joseph Goodwin, we would not be here today. And in fact, there would have been no justice for these victims. All of this stems from a 5-year-old vengeance. Tyon Bates' brother Tyree Bates was murdered in 2018, and he was murdered in the area around 4th and Diamond. The person who was with him not long before he was killed was Nyrese Moore. And for those 5 years, there have been incidents back and forth. The motivation was for Tyree Bates. And Tyon Bates made sure that he got his get back for him and bragged about it. At the scene, we had 107 pieces of ballistic evidence. What you are looking at here is just the basketball court. The scene itself also encompassed 3 blocks: Darien Street, 8th Street, and Diamond Street. It was the largest crime scene I had ever had. Not in terms of ballistic evidence, but in terms of the scope itself. 2 of the victims, Nyrese Moore and Nasir Folk, were killed at the scene. Isaiah Williams was shot in the head, was transported to Temple Hospital, and succumbed to his injuries the following day after donating his organs with gift of life. Jeffrey Presley, who was our surviving victim, was shot in the abdomen. He was hospitalized for an extended period of time, but was never able to be a witness for us. And I think what is important to know about this case is that what you hear all the time is flash information, right? The information that goes out over radio immediately. We had no flash information in this case, nothing. And I'd never seen anything like it. I'd never had a case where not on body cam, not on 911 calls, we had nothing. Thankfully, we have surveillance video. And it was due to surveillance video that we were able to begin this investigation. We had surveillance video from the rec center that you're gonna see. We have surveillance video from a couple of different places, because ultimately, a few days after we identified the vehicle that was used in this murder, members of the 26th District found that vehicle, brought it to homicide detectives' attention, and as it turned out, there was surveillance video right there in that vacant lot where they found it. And detectives pulled all that video, and those 26th District police officers said, you know, these guys that I see in this video here in the vacant lot, they hang out at Jasper and Allegheny. So what does Detective McAndrews do? He goes to Jasper and Allegheny. There is an absolutely incredible If we could just mute that for a second. This video is absolutely outstanding. Not only are there 3 different cameras that we were able to utilize at this location, 1 that faces Allegheny Street and 2 that face Jasper Street, but this is unbelievable video, not only in terms of high definition, but we have audio on the Jasper Street side, which is important because lo and behold, as we looked at this video and pulled it, the truck that they use in the murder, you can hear them purchasing it for $225. Here in the black with the iPod buds in his ears is Tyon Bates. You can also see in that video a little bit later on Quadruple Lopez, who also is speaking with these 3 white men who appear with this truck at Jasper and Allegheny. And just let's be clear, that is about a block from Kensington and Allegheny. The defendants traveled to this staging location, ultimately where we find the truck afterwards. It's the 1700 block of North 6th Street. Earlier in the day, at about 10 in the morning, this white Kia that you're gonna see right behind where the white truck is deposited there. and you'll see that there is back and forth between this truck and that Kia, which is important because we have a whole lot of people who are involved. Based on the ballistic evidence, we were able to determine there were 6 firearms out there. You can see 5 shooters appear on the basketball court, but we know there are 6. And ultimately, there are 2 more shooters that I have not made arrests on yet. My job, unfortunately, is not done. What you're going to see here is the surveillance video that we had that night. And what is important, and what also is told, is sort of the story that is told to us. And you can see that truck way far in the distance. And the first shooter here is Tyon Bates. We know that for a couple of different reasons. Number one, he is on video just prior to this purchasing a long sleeve white shirt from a corner store right across from Jasper and Allegheny, but also because after he comes in shooting with both hands, he pulls one hand away and shoots with his left hand. And Tyon Bates is in fact left-handed, which we were able to demonstrate during the course of the trial. In addition, Tyon Bates is shot in the high hamstrings by friendly fire, by one of his co-defendants. Through the top of his hamstrings in the rear. And you can see it on the video. It is one of the first things that detectives noticed, so they started being interested in maybe, is anybody shown up at an area hospital, right? Suffering from some kind of gunshot wound. There was no one. Well, that's because, as it turns out, they go to Marlton, New Jersey. They put him in a car, they go back to that staging area, they put him in a different vehicle, and they go to Marlton, New Jersey. At that point, he says, oh, I was shot in Camden. So then they transport him to Camden. Camden detectives investigate. Say, we don't have any shooting reports, we have nothing. Couldn't have happened here. So they reach out to homicide. Well, this is the guy we're looking for. And after the fact, there are a series of search warrants. Obviously, we were able to, during the course of the investigation, identify all of these individuals who get out of that car right after the murder. They change their clothes and they come right up to that video camera in that vacant lot where you can see them without any masks on and in different clothing. Prior to the murder, they were all out at Jasper and Allegheny, and we had that, again, that high definition video of them where you can see them. After the murder, Tyon Bates is on the run for about 18 months. We had a warrant out for him by early September of 2023, and we did not arrest him until March 31st of this year. At this point, there were multiple defendants that had been arrested and held for court at that point. And I really wanted to make sure that Tyon Bates, who is really the genesis of all of this, the motivation, and who is spearheading all of these efforts, while he is on the run, he is trolling and bragging about the murders. This is slide 59 from one of my exhibits in evidence. The first story says why they keep dissing Allie like Reese got caught trying to shoot a 3. And Nyrese Moore was in fact on the 3-point line as they entered that basketball court. The next story is you get shot, go on the run, or jailing, and you see who's really with you. During the course of the investigation, we were able to determine 2 sort of motivations for these murders, and that is Tyree Bates, and Sear, also a member of 4th and Diamond. The next set of stories, New Year resolution, more blood, brains, and bodies on the 8. This is a targeted effort by members of 4th and Diamond, not for one person, but for any person. And that's the truly horrific part about this case, is that they targeted any human being that was there. And in fact, chased them down and around, the victims that were fleeing out of the basketball court and down 8th Street. One of the shooters goes back around Darien Street and over to Diamond Street to cut them off, the people who are fleeing. It did not matter if you were from 8th and Diamond or anywhere else. The two other murder victims that we had, Nasir Folk and Isaiah Williams, they weren't even from around there. It was just a nice basketball court. And it was a Friday in August. That's it. That was the crime that they committed, was living their life. There were multiple pieces of ballistic evidence that we recovered from inside houses on the streets, on 8th Street. I think that sort of wraps up everything. Each of these defendants were ultimately sentenced by Judge Bronson to 3 consecutive life sentences, followed by 24 to 48 years in state correctional institutions. Oh, I think that just one other point. Quaza Lopez was on house arrest at the time of this murder, had a band on his ankle. And unfortunately, in Philadelphia, adult house arrest does not include a GPS monitor or tracker. And that has been an issue that we have seen before. Also, he was supposed to be in the house by 6. And in his cell phone, which we extracted, he is repeatedly telling all of his co-conspirators, I gotta be in by 6, I gotta be in by 6. Well, he wasn't, he was late. And there's a nice little note in his house arrest report that he called and said why he was late, stuck in traffic. Oh, sure.
What you've heard is an extraordinary prosecution by one of our exceptional prosecutors, Ms. Sydney Pope. This is a horrific case, and we really want the word to get out that if you are engaged in this type of violence here in the city and county of Philadelphia, we will come after you. At this point in time, we're going to hear from a member of the family and Mr. Cody Carter, who's the cousin of the deceased victim, Nyrese Moore, and the family members are going to come up and join him with him. Mr. Carter? Thank you. Hold on one second.
Hello, everyone. I just want to first, just thank you all. And I just want to send a special thank you to Ms. Sydney Pope for everything she done for my family, for the justice she brought for my cousin. It's been a long 2 years for us, and I'm just happy to get a piece of closure that we all been looking for. It's a very unfortunate situation. No young man, let alone my cousin, and let alone the other 3 victims should be, gunned down playing basketball, It just breaks my heart, just that young men are doing this to each other, And I just pray for better days, man. I just pray for better days. Anybody that knew Nyrese, man, he was just a goofy kid. He was the one that put a smile on your face. He never wanted to see nobody in a bad mood, and that was my heart. That was my heart. I'm 10 years older than him, but man, me and him was tighter than anything. And that was a little brother I never had. And I'll never forget that call. I'll never forget that call. It's like everything stopped, man. It's like everything stopped. And I got 2 kids, right? It's like everything went in slow motion. I said, there's no way restart, man. There's no way. And I'm just thankful for my support system, man, because I remember that day I dropped my kids off. It was raining. And I got right to 8th and Diamond as soon as I could. And, it just wasn't the news I wanted to hear. And, but I thank Miss Polk again. Like I said, she's been a great help for my family. And, I just pray that, better days are coming, for these young men. Because I'm just tired of the senseless violence, I got him right here, and I take this everywhere I go. But once again, like I said, thank you all. I apologize for my emotions, but I love my little brother, man. He was more than a cousin. He was more than a cousin, But thank you all, and have a good one.
We want to thank Mr. Cody Carter and members of the family for joining us here today to talk about how this has impacted them. At this point in time, we're going to take questions from the press. We have 6ABC, Mr. Chad Perdili. Any questions?
Any new developments on the Scott case?
We're
Been completed and any new charges?
Well, thank you very much for that question. We're just going to stay focused on this question here, on this case here. If there are other questions about other cases, I'm certainly willing to talk to you afterward on the side, but we're going to stay focused on this case here. Do you have any questions on this case? Okay. From Channel 10, Telemundo, Cristabel Mora. No questions? Okay, all right. And Channel 10, NBC, Mr. Aaron Baskerville. No questions, sir. Mr. Jim Friedman. Okay, thank you. From 29 Fox, Ms. Tina Holgate. No questions. Okay. And from KYW, Kristen Johansson. Ms. Johansson? I can't see her. She stepped out, okay. All right, and Philadelphia Tribune, Ms. Sherry Stone?
I don't want to upset the president, but I was just wondering, like, how old was he? What school did he go to? Like, high school, did he graduate from Nigeria, right?
Yes.
Cody, you want to come back up, please? Okay, yeah.
What was your question again? I'm sorry.
So how old was Nigeria, and like, what high school did he go to? Did he have siblings?
Yes. Well, to answer the question about his siblings, Reese has 6 siblings. He has 6 siblings. I don't want to say he had. And he was 22 at the time of the incident. He went to George Washington High School, and he had just recently had a daughter. July 23rd. We celebrated my granddaughter's first birthday, and 2 to 3 weeks later, her father was gone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Listenby, will you be putting out a press release with the names, spellings of the defendants as well as the disclosure by any chance?
Yes. Abdul Salman? No questions? Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here today. We really appreciate you being here. And again, thanks to Ms. Sidney Pope for this extraordinary prosecution. As she indicated, if this case had occurred many years earlier, we would not have likely been able to piece it together, but thanks to the surveillance cameras, and thanks to all the advances in forensics, and a really dedication of the Philadelphia Police Department detectives who handled this case, just did a fantastic job. So we're so proud of all of them, and we're thankful that they were able to do what they will do to bring justice to this family. Thank you.